So when you go through this, the total amount spent on tree cutting, $573,000 for 1 month of services. Not one of these 7 companies has a contract with the village. This is a no-bid fraud scam started by Tiffany Henyard. There's actually a really, really good video I want you guys to take a look at real quick. It's from Go Political. This video is doing extremely well. I don't know if you guys have checked it out, with some of these great videos breaking down the psychology, the way she manipulates, and also like this video right here where he was able to break down this Dolton tree trimming scam. I didn't even know there was such thing that you could have a tree trimming scam. Like, wait, what? 76,000 views in 11 hours. He's almost at 2,000 subscribers. Please subscribe to this channel. The guy has great work and he's doing a lot of awesome things. So this situation, which he uncovered, is outrageous. So let me try to summarize it real quick. There's kickbacks from the contracts alleging that the mayor, Tiffany Henyard of Dolton, is orchestrating a tree trimming scam involving no bid contracts where she's personally benefiting from these kickbacks. The claim is that the city spends $300,000 to $400,000 monthly on unnecessary tree trimming that isn't budgeted, suggesting that the financial mismanagement and obviously corruption. $300,000 to $400,000 a month on tree trimming. That's not budgeted. And then she's also accused of manipulating the process to secure these no bid contracts while distracting the trustees and the residents with her nonsense, her yelling and her talking over everybody and just manipulating the entire situation. And it just shows like there's a lack of transparency. There's a lack of due process with these contract rewards, with many trustees and residents reportedly unaware of these contracts until they're due for payment. So it's outrageous. And I hope you guys check out his channel. I want to play a little bit of the video so you have an idea of what he's talking about.
Mayor Tiffany Henyard's tree trimming racket is about to be exposed. So how does she get away with doling out hundreds of thousands of dollars for no bid contracts? And how does she benefit? You asked for it, and now you're going to get it.
We spending roughly between $300,000 and $400,000 every month or every other month on tree trimming. It makes no sense. It's not budgeted anywhere. It's not about beautification. If you're gonna cut the trees, cut the dead trees, trim the trees. But you making this a project of beauty just to be like, they said no. They said no. It's not fair to us.
When you see that, and now we know through all of the information that we've seen and analyzed and all the trouble that they're currently in, they're spending all that kind of money. You know, the money was going into the pockets of her and her cronies. It's pretty obvious, but let's listen to more what Carlton has to say about this one.
So what is really going on here? And why do we see meeting after meeting the same discussion coming from the trustees complaining about these no bid contracts?
No one is against getting trees cut. The problem is when we see, and that's why I say, I know you said that we do RFPs. Yes, the engineer department does RFPs, but anyone who's attended these meetings haven't heard of an RFP being presented in a whole entire year and a half. So when we ask, we're asking because it's a concern. When I look at this warrant list, we have $352,105 on tree trimming, just on this warrant list. But yet we have John Pros who come to us and say, well, he's giving you a quote of $2.6 million to cut every tree down in the village. So these are real concerns.
What kind of shady nonsense is this? Like, what is going on? So I checked out this video and I'm thinking like how is this supposed to be done properly? Which, because Henyard doesn't do anything properly. It's always either shady or just completely incompetent. So a proper contracting process is first, obviously, the need identification. A public entity identifies a need, such as tree trimming, defines the scope of the work required. So not trimming them and then cutting them doesn't make any sense. 1 month, like, it's a racket. There must be some kind of scam going on, right? Then they talked about the RFP, is the request for proposal. So our RFP is issued publicly, inviting qualified contractors to submit their bids. Remember, qualified contractors, not shady people who only like Henyard. This documents what exactly is required and the evaluation criteria and how the bids should be submitted. This is how it's supposed to work. Then there's public bidding. The bidding is open, the process, right? It's open to all qualified bidders to ensure no preferential treatment. Now, this is the complete opposite of everything that Henyard believes in. Everything is preferential treatment if you like her. And if you can do something for her, she'll do something for you. That's how it works. You have to show love and loyalty, and she bless you with property, with contracts, or whatever. So, but the way it's supposed to happen when you have qualified bidders to ensure there's no preferential treatment, this stage is crucial for transparency. Again, she's allergic to that, and competition. Then there's evaluation of the bids. The bids are evaluated based on criteria such as cost, experience, capability. Does this shit make sense? The process is documented and often involves a committee to ensure that you can defend the decisions. They're not biased. And if someone wanted to question the decisions, it's everything documented so it doesn't like people don't know what they're talking about or just looking to try to get away with things. And then the contract is rewarded to the most qualified bidder who meets all those criteria. And then this is another really important part that, of course, Henyard's not going to do. Throughout the entire contract period, there is oversight to ensure compliance with these terms. So the payments are tied to milestones, just like when you contract for something. You make sure that it's getting done at a certain time, a certain quality. You have inspections to make sure that the work is being done, is completed properly. That's how it's supposed to go. Now, what do you think? You think Henyard is actually doing that? You think she's doing any of those steps?
Somebody going to jail.
We can watch a little bit more, but I would guess and say she did not follow any of those steps.
Where's the tree list? Where's the tree list? But when we ask about the tree list, there's a big stink. And all we're doing is asking questions. That's why we have discussion.
So here we have exposed the scam. Now, just as Trustee Belcher said, why would you pay a contractor to trim a tree only to go back to that same tree and cut it down instead of cutting it down in the first place? Well, it's an opportunity to double dip and make money twice on the same tree, because the real motivation is get as many no bid contracts that you can, pay these contractors to go do the work and skim the money.
You hear that? It's probably in the millions. Like, this is a huge scam for a very small village. So we have some records about the amount of money and the different amount of companies that Henyard is using for this tree trimming, tree removal thing. So let me check this. Let me fix this real quick for you guys. Hold on a second. Okay. So you see all these companies, and mind you, none of these companies were approved by the board. She has not put any kind of contract bidding up. Everything is no bid contracts. So you see some of these companies right here. Let's bring it down here. So you can see what's encircled, the amount of money is being paid. You see the tree services, tens of thousands of dollars. You see this one right here, Raoul and Sons Landscaping. You can look at right here. Look how much money they're spending. That's a good grip right there. Seriously. Let's keep moving. And then John's Pro Tree Service. That's another one right there at $155,000. Crazy. Absolutely crazy. You see another company right here, KNM Ventures. Bunch of tree removal, tree trimming, tree cutting, whatever. See how much that is right there? $157,000. I should be a tree trimmer. They get paid over here. And then another one, Lopez Lawn Maintenance. There's another 10 racks right there. What's going on here? So when you go through this, the total amount spent on tree cutting, $573,000 for 1 month of services. Not one of these 7 companies has a contract with the village. This is a no-bid fraud scam started by Tiffany Henyard. They aren't even approved contractor list. They're not even on the approved contractor list. And you can find all those contractors at Village Hall. What the hell? The municipality is being destroyed. The municipality is being completely destroyed. Everything that they do is so blatant.
Well, let's get into that and show an example of Mayor Tiffany Henyard using a very clever method to throw them off track and to reverse the situation and put the heat on the trustees and turn them into the villain.
So
John Pro Trees, sir. John Pro Trees. John Pro Trees.
okay, what is that? So I wasn't expecting that, but okay. That's just an example of Trustee House taking tree service out. And then the very next day, as I told y'all, I don't play with God. The next day we had a storm. and trees fell on people's cars, people's homes, and those same vendors that they took out all came out and cut down trees from your houses, from your cars. And that's what I mean about relationships. People try to destroy it by not paying people. Now you put the village in a hurdle, because now it's like, how do you help the resident that's calling you? Y'all not calling them, y'all calling the mayor. So we want to make sure that we help the people no matter what.
John Pro Trees is still cutting trees, and he was told that there's no money. He doesn't have a contract, pure scamming. But you saw what she did just there. She used two separate situations. Well, the trustees said no to tree trimming, so look at what happened to this person's cars, because they said no. Even though in reality, there's so much more complicated issues from saying no to the tree trimming to this situation happening. She basically blanket all the other things, the other concerns, to saying, you know why this happened to this person's car? It's because of the trustees' fault. It's very, very clever. And one of the biggest things about Tiffany Henyard is how much she is a complete hypocrite. So this is when she was a trustee. And it's interesting how she spoke back then to compare to how she is speaking now.
Have a board that you have to go before you pay bills. You cannot, and I repeat, cannot pay a bill because you choose to. The entire body have agreed to not pay that one particular vendor, but you took it upon yourself.
It was more than one bill, Trustee Henry. It was more than one. It was several amounts, several invoices.
Okay, but we all agreed not to pay that one particular vendor. You fought tooth and nail to pay that one particular vendor for whatever reason. So what I'm saying, or what I'm asking as a trustee, is that you report to your board and let us approve or disapprove.
Because one of the invoices was one that you wanted to.
It's unbelievable how she is speaking now to what she's been doing since she became mayor. But it makes sense. The board needs to approve. You can't just do whatever you want to do. She said that to Mayor Rogers at the time. But it is funny how things have changed over time.
Trees cut down.
Mayor, I'm not going to fight today. I'm just telling you the opinion that I have and how it should be. That's the structure. That's the order that you ignore every time. So what I'm asking you, if you want something paid, put it before your board, which is the board of trustees.
Interesting. If you want something to get paid, you got to put it before the board of trustees. The thing that Tiffany Henyard is not doing right now.
We put it in front of the board.
For a total of $60,000.
There was multiple invoices. That was not one invoice.
And we said no to the $60,000.
The whole $60,000 was not paid.
Okay, I'm gonna just say this and I'm leaving it alone. Later on, you got an email from Attorney Murphy saying that it was no approval to pay Procurement and Sign, but yet you still went through and paid. All I'm asking is to stop doing that. Go before the body and get your approval. That's it. That's it. Thank you.
I guess when you get the power, things change, right? So we have another video of Trustee Henyard spinning the facts on the behavior of the mayor doing the wrong thing. Let's check it out.
I don't know why we're playing this game. The mayor is the overseer of the village. He signs off on everything. The mayor oversees and signs off on the bills, especially at that amount. Nobody else does. So I don't know why Chris saying he don't know. He know it's the mayor. His signature is on everything. So he shouldn't have done that. That's why you have a board that you should go before. You never do. You oversee us and you go and do what you want as usual.
I mean, she's not using the word oversee properly, but basically what she's saying is that there is no board. According to Mayor Rogers, he does what he wants to do. He's bypassing the board, not overseeing, but Henyard, that's her way of speaking. But that's what she's trying to say. So this mayor doesn't care about the board. The mayor wants to do what the mayor wants to do. That's what Trustee Henyard is trying to explain.
Trustee, why don't you let me do my job? That, when you advocated to have that one lady's tree cut down, you immediately said, Matt, why didn't you cut the tree down? I called you several times to cut this tree down. So when we cut the tree down, now you don't want to pay the vendor to do it.
Okay, so that's all you got. That one resident that been complaining for 2
That's
years.
not the one.
Hold on. When I advocated for her tree to be cut down, remember you said I want a tree lady. We approved it. The board approved it. You took 2 years. 2 years, Mayor.
That's not true.
You just cut it down now. Don't worry about it. I'm gonna pull the tape up and I'll put it on my page.
Pull the tape. That's
true.
Exactly.
It's true. So what I'm saying to you now, you're only doing everything. Every move you're making is political. It ain't care about the residents. Because if you did, you would have did it when we approved it. When we approved stuff, why you don't do what we say?
Why would you
Well,
say
we approved stuff. Why y'all don't go do it? It just
Why-
said then the resident complained again, but we approved it though.
Why would you say the lady fell down and broke her hip? And I talked to her, she said that was not the case.
Mayor,
Ooh, wait, what now? What?
I told you what it
Why'd you say
which
that?
was the lady did fall and break her hip. If you would have
She
went
did-
there when it happened, then
I
you would have
went-
known. So if you went
I-
there now, you want to make it a debate now. What they got
I
to do with
talked
the
to
tree?
her son. I talked to her son,
What
and I
does that have
talked to
to do
her
with the tree?
personally. And I've
What
talked
they
to
got to
her
do with the
personally.
tree?
Interesting when the mayor Rogers is trying to talk about this situation with the lady breaking her hip, that Henyard keeps talking over him like she doesn't want him to talk more about what happened in that situation. Very interesting.
Mayor, what?
I
You
talked to her
deflect a lot.
personally.
You deflect a lot. It got nothing to do with the tree.
I talked to her personally, and she said no, she did not fall down and
2
break her
years.
hip.
2 years to cut a tree.
All right. Is she lying? Did she talk about something that didn't happen? Henyard doesn't lie.
That's not true.
Everybody else on the list that don't exist. Am I gonna get the tree list, Mayor? Can I have that? Can I please have the tree list?
I don't know.
So
the
people
list.
can know where they at on this tree list that you say they got, that they don't got.
Let me tell you, in a lot of cases, residents want
Exactly.
the trees cut down for
Found it.
reasons. We do not cut down trees for cosmetic reasons. If the tree is healthy and it needs trimming, we'll trim it. But we don't cut trees down just because a resident say, cut my tree down, I don't like it anymore. We don't do that.
Interesting now, because with this whole tree trimming scam allegedly is about beautification, not necessarily about necessity, especially the way Henyard talks about it. We'll talk about that later on in this video.
Mayor, can I have that
And-
list?
And the tree, I don't know of any list.
Right, but y'all tell the residents that they go on a list when they call in about a complaint, and yet they lined up on the list. They not.
I don't think it's that.
Oh God. Okay, I'm done.
So there's another big hypocrite from Trustee Henyard at the time about paying all this money, hundreds of thousands of dollars, to these contractors, these outside contractors, and how maybe if you're able to train some people in-house to do some of this work, it'll be beneficial financially for the village. Henyard does not believe in that now, but Trustee Henyard years ago had a different idea. Check it out.
So that's why the outside company comes in. And then you don't want to pay them.
Mayor, I've always said train in-house staff to do what we need to be done. You constantly want to outsource everything. You can train those guys. That's why they're called public works. They should be able to handle half the things we got in the community.
Well, then
Stop
buy-
outsourcing everything, Mayor. And if that's the case, they go through Trustee Steve's committee when they need equipment, need something fixed. So if it's a truck that they need to be able to cut the tree down, so we not paying $25 for 4 trees, I think they should get it.
Well, then why don't you approve an $80,000 crane that they use to cut those tall trees down? Why don't you do that?
Mayor, I have no problem with putting that in the budget. You know, budget is coming up and we can afford that. No problem.
And in this video, again, Henyard is being a complete hypocrite. We now know that there's some kind of double dipping happening with this tree trimming situation, and that's why we think there's a major scam. But again, this happened in 2018, and Henyard, remember, Trustee Henyard, explaining how double dipping doesn't make a whole lot of sense. Check it out.
Okay, so if you have any questions or concerns in regards to that, or if you are one of our lawn care providers, please hold your questions to the end. But we do prefer you guys to cut down the bushes, but also if you think about it, if we have you cut them down and you put them up front, we kind of double working because public works still have to come and pick up the bushes. So I prefer to just give the tree trimming or the bushes to a public works and then let the lawn care providers just cut all the lawns. That way we not double paying. For instance, we have another issue where people
That makes a lot of sense. It makes a lot of sense.
go cut the grass in the front, meaning public works, but they don't cut the backyard. So then they call the lawn care providers, and that's another fee. So now we paying out twice. When we could just nip it in the bud and just give it strictly to the lawn care provider, let them cut the front and the back for the $25. So just some suggestions, you guys.
Just some suggestions that make sense. It looks like she doesn't follow her own suggestions that were happening a couple of years ago. So when Henyard is able to do that, she's manipulating these trustee meetings and using really good deflection. You know, Go Political has really good videos based on this. And I know a lot of people think that Henyard is stupid. And I understand that. I mean, some words she can't pronounce. And when she's writing something, when she puts a post on social media, there's a lot of issues. But there's certain things that she is good at. And she's a really good manipulator. That could be a natural thing that she learned through her life experiences. I doubt she necessarily can even explain how she does it, but she is effective. Now the problem is she probably thinks she's smarter than everyone else. Because there could be a little bit of narcissism, and the problem is with most narcissist people, they're not the smartest in the room, and eventually they get caught because they think they can finesse anybody, and eventually you run out of space, you run out of courtesy currency to keep finessing people. Eventually, they'll realize you're full of shit. But you can tell she's really good at manipulating. So she uses, and this is typical politics, but to use that video as a sign of, well, Jason House don't care about your car because he said no to the tree trimming. That's effective.